Offshore fishing, there's nothing like it. The smell of salt air, the hum of the motors, the anticipation as you clear the inlet and head toward the horizon. For many anglers, it's the ultimate adventure. But anyone who's done it knows the hard truth. Offshore fishing can also be brutally unforgiving. You can spend hours, even days, and come home empty-handed. Why? Because the ocean is huge and the fish are always moving. Pelagics like wahoo, mahi, tuna, and marlin don't live in one place. They follow bait, they follow water conditions, and if you don't know where to go, you can burn $1,000 in fuel and be nothing more than a sightseeing boat. That's exactly why I built the Fisherman's Warehouse trip planning service, to take the guesswork out of offshore fishing. Instead of relying on luck or last week's rumors, we use hard science, advanced technology, and real-world experience to guide you straight to the fish. Let me explain how it works. We start with the most powerful tools available, satellite data. Every day, satellites pass over the ocean and record information that tells us exactly what's happening on the surface. Most anglers only scratch the surface of this data, but we dig deep. First, we analyze sea surface temperatures. Why? Because every pelagic species has a comfort zone. Wahoo thrive in water from about 72 to 78 degrees. Mahi like it a little warmer. Tuna favor specific temperature bands depending on the season. Marlin often patrol right on the edge of these zones. If you're not in the right water temperature, you're not in the game. Next, we look at chlorophyll levels. Chlorophyll is a measurement of plankton, the base of the food chain. Too much chlorophyll means the water is green and murky, not ideal for pelagics. Too little, and it's desert clear. But when you find the right edge, clean blue water pushing against greener water, that's where baitfish pile up. And where bait piles up, predators follow. Then we move to current breaks and rips. Ocean currents are like highways for fish. A strong rip, a temperature break, or a current edge acts like a fence line. It gathers debris, bait, and life. You've probably heard stories of someone catching a box full of mahi under a weed line or ripping wahoo off a hard break. That's no accident, it's the power of current. Now, here's the secret weapon most weekend anglers overlook, sea surface anomalies, or SSHA. This is what scientists call the dips and rises in the ocean's surface. When the ocean surface dips down, that's an upwelling. Cooler, nutrient-rich water rises from the deep. Nutrients feed plankton, plankton feed baitfish, and baitfish attract pelagics. It's like ringing the dinner bell. On the other hand, when the surface is higher than normal, and that's a downwelling. Nutrients sink and the food chain collapses. That water is dead. By layering all of this data, temperature, chlorophyll, currents, and anomalies, we can literally see where life is stacked in the ocean. That's where we send you, but data alone isn't enough. You need to know how to interpret it, and that's where our experience comes in. We've spent decades fishing the Carolina coast and Gulf Stream. We know how the fish move here. We know the patterns, the seasons, the quirks of the water. When we overlay data with real-world knowledge, the picture becomes crystal clear. Here's what you get when you use our service. Precise GPS coordinates for the most productive zones. A breakdown of target species most likely to be in those areas. Real-time weather and current insights factored into your plan. Lure and bait recommendations tailored to those species and conditions. Tactical adjustments, how fast to troll, what spread to run, and where to focus your effort. In short, you get a complete trip plan built for your exact day on the water. And this isn't theory, we've been doing it. We've guided anglers to successful days offshore, and we've got the pictures to prove it. Coolers packed with mahi, wahoo stretched across the deck, tuna bleeding out on ice, and even shots at marlin that made dreams come true. Now let's talk about who this is for. If you're a weekend angler, you probably only get a handful of offshore trips a year. Every one of them counts. With fuel prices the way they are, you can't afford to waste a run. Our service gives you the confidence that you're spending your money and time wisely. If you're a charter captain, your business depends on putting clients on fish. A dead trip means disappointed customers and lost revenue. Our trip planning keeps you in the game and makes sure your clients go home with smiles and full coolers. And if you're a tournament fisherman, you already know the edge this gives you. In a high-stakes game where one bite can be the difference between winning and losing, the right intel is priceless. And here's the kicker. Services start as low as $79.95. Think about that. For less than the cost of bait and ice, you get the kind of intel usually reserved for top tournament teams and pro captains. Offshore fishing will always have challenges, and that's part of why we love it. But with the right plan, it doesn't have to be a gamble. Imagine this. It's 5 a.m., you're idling out of the inlet, and you know exactly where you're headed. The coordinates are locked in. You're not wondering. You're not second-guessing, you're confident. You get to the break, set your spread, and within minutes, the first rod doubles over. That's not luck, that's planning. That's the power of the Fisherman's Warehouse trip planning service. So here's the call to action. Don't waste fuel searching. Don't leave it to chance. Fish smarter. Fish with confidence. Fish with a plan. Call or message us today at 803-431-0125. That's 803-431-0125. Services start at just $79.95. Fisherman's Warehouse Trip Planning, we plan every detail, including the fish.